It was a normal Friday, 19 September in Washington, D.C., and suddenly President Donald Trump signs a proclamation. And what's in the order? A shocking $100,000 fee on every new H1B visa application. Now, H1B visas are the lifeline for skilled workers, especially for India. In fact, 70% of H1B holders are Indian engineers, scientists, and techies. For decades, this visa has been the ticket to Silicon Valley dreams, but overnight, the cost just went from a few $100s to 100,000. Naturally, panic has set in. Tech companies were confused, immigrant workers were worried, and Indian families in the US were glued to their WhatsApp groups. But then the very next day, White House press secretary stepped in with a fact sheet to calm the chaos. She clarified, this is not an annual fee, just a one-time payment. It only applies to new visas, not renewals. Current H1B holders won't pay this, and they can still travel in and out of the US as before. And the fee will only apply starting from the next lottery cycle. So if you already have your visa, you are safe. But if you're planning to apply next year, get ready for that $100,000 price tag. Meanwhile, big tech companies scramble to protect their employees. Microsoft, JP Morgan, Amazon, Goldman Sachs all sent out urgent internal emails. What was the advice? If you are on H1B, stay inside the US. Avoid international travel. It was like a storm warning, but for visas. Back in India, the Ministry of External Affairs voiced concern, saying the policy would disrupt families and cause humanitarian issues. After all, thousands of Indian engineers depend on this pathway for their careers. And it is not just governments and companies, the fee is changing real lives. Take one example, a Chinese software engineer at Amazon earning $180,000 a year. He had 18 months left on his OPT work permit. But instead of entering the stressful H1B lottery again with this massive fee hanging over him, he decided to quit. He is leaving the US, starting his own company abroad and living the so-called new American dream, earning US dollars remotely while enjoying cheaper living, better healthcare and more peace of mind. Now that personal story hits home for many, because behind every visa number is a family, a career and years of uncertainty. But to really understand this movement, we have to step back and look at the bigger picture. Let's go back a little. In the 1980s, under Deng Xiaoping, China opened up its economy. China's strategy was clear. It wanted to manufacture goods cheaply and sell them to the US and the West. Many American companies liked this idea because China had cheap labor, weak environmental rules, and strong infrastructure. By the 1990s, after the Cold War ended, China had already become the factory of the United States. Now, when India also started opening its economy in the 1990s, the US noticed something different here. India had a large English-speaking population and a huge pool of educated graduates, especially in science, technology, engineering, and mathematics. The US realized that if China could be its factory, then India could become its software and IT hub. This was the time when the US pushed hard to integrate with India's economy, fueling the IT boom here. Indian engineers and tech graduates became part of the American system, building careers in software and IT. But America's strategic community, that is defense and policy experts, raised a concern. They feared that if one day India and China joined hands in technology and industry, it could challenge US dominance. Some experts even said, if such a partnership ever looked possible, the US could provoke border conflicts between India and China to ensure they never unite. So, while America was helping India's IT growth, it also created a counter-strategy, the H1B visa program introduced in 1990. Officially, it was marketed as a program to bring skilled talent from abroad to live the American dream. But in reality, it was also a geopolitical tool, a way to drain talent, that is brain drain, from countries like India and China, so they could never become true competitors. The US promoted this program heavily in India. Professors from IITs and top colleges were invited to the US on academic tours and scholarships. When they returned, they encouraged their brightest students to go to America for success. Slowly going to the US became the ultimate yardstick of success. What was the result? India lost a huge amount of its top talent. Many of our best scientists, engineers and researchers moved to America. That is why today Indians are CEOs of Google, Microsoft, IBM and even developers of AI tools like ChatGPT. But India itself doesn't have its own Google, its own YouTube, or its own global tech giants. The H1B program was never just about jobs. It was a deliberate strategy to maintain US dominance and prevent India or China from rising independently. So, where does this leave us today? For now, the rule stands, new H1B visa applicants will have to pay $100,000 starting from the next cycle. It's a move that Trump says it will protect American workers, but critics argue that it could drive away the very talent that made America the world's tech leader. And for Indian families, the uncertainty continues. Some may still chase the American dream, while others, like the Amazon engineer, are choosing a new path, global careers without the stress of visas. Because at the end of the day, the question is simple. Is the American dream worth $100,000? But honestly, this was bound to happen sooner or later. For years, so many of our people have been moving abroad, chasing a better life, higher salaries and bigger opportunities. And naturally, those countries will always put their own national interest above our dreams. At the end of the day, they are thinking about their own citizens first. And maybe this is the right time for us to reflect, to ask ourselves, when will we start caring about our own country in the same way? When will we focus on building things here, in-house, with our own talent? Because that's the real question. Will we always stay dependent on others, or will we make India so strong that people from all over the world dream of coming here to work? The truth is, as long as we remain dependent, there will always be conflicts of interest. And these kinds of setbacks, they will keep coming back. But then there's another truth as well. When people go abroad, they join an already established system and contribute towards its further development. Over there, the structure is in place and they simply plug into it and grow. But here in our own country, we will have to build things from scratch. And that's why the people who have lived and worked abroad, who have seen those systems function, can play a big role in shaping things here. In the beginning, yes, we might have to copy and paste certain models from the West just to get started. But slowly, we will have to develop our own path. Because let's be honest, not everything that works in Western society will automatically work in India. Our needs, our culture, our challenges, our spending patterns are different. So whatever we build here has to be based on our realities, not just theirs. If you really look at it, challenges exist both at home and abroad. Even when we go to another country for jobs, after all that hard work, there is still no guarantee of what the future will bring. And even if we start something in our own country, there is no guarantee it will succeed in the long run either. So what this really shows is that life offers us opportunities, not guarantees. No one can say for sure that a decision we take today will automatically lead to success tomorrow. And that's the truth which applies not just at the personal level, but also at the national level and even at the international level. I hope you found this video informative. Thanks for watching. I'll see you in the next one.